Angela, thank you so much for joining me today. Now I want to ask you, what does financial or economic abuse look like in your practice, specifically in the intimate partner relationship, so spouses or boyfriend-girlfriend relationships?
Great question. What I see most often in my practice is a level of financial abuse that goes along with some other kind of abuse, be it emotional, physical, unfortunately. It's rarely just one kind of abuse that are experienced by survivors of intimate partner violence.
And one of the things that my understanding of financial abuse is that it often can be a precursor to escalation to other forms of abuse. What can you tell me about that?
I think that that's absolutely the case. It's rarely the case where someone's being abused and it sort of plateaus or is stagnant. It does tend to escalate. And what we see very often is that those early warning signs, such as financial abuse or isolation from one's friends and family members, be that financial isolation or emotional isolation, that those early warning signs are ignored. So I think it's really important that we take financial abuse, even in its more benign forms, that we take that as a serious early warning sign of things to come.
And what would a benign form be? What are some of those early warning signs? I've heard of things like telling a partner to leave their job, and ending access to credit cards, one partner controlling access to funds. What type of things should people be watching for?
I do think that all financial abuse is serious, but some acts are treated as more benign by the partner experiencing them until they're sort of a frog that's been boiled. So what we see really often are financial isolation. So where you're fully dependent on your partner for all the money that you have to spend. And of course, it's not that women are more vulnerable to economic abuse because they're women. It's because they're already more marginalized in society, right? Women still get paid less for the same work done by their male counterparts. This is especially true with racialized populations, Black and brown women. And women tend to be the primary caretakers for children. So they're more often the ones who end up, as you said, leaving their jobs, becoming financially isolated, being cut off from credit cards, and being totally reliant on a partner for financial support.
Now, to a lot of our viewers, that might sound like, a traditional family, right? I mean, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She was not financially abused. So where does it transition into an abusive situation?
Well, I think what's important is that you don't want to be responsive to an abusive situation. If you're a stay-at-home parent, that's amazing. It is such important work, and it is work. But unfortunately, a lot of it's unpaid. So what I would encourage people in those situations to do is set up a cohabitation agreement, set up an agreement of what happens if the partnership dissolves. Why do you still like each other? Have that plan in place and have access to your own funds. So perhaps you are reliant on your partner for a period in time, and that may be something that you're totally comfortable with. If it's not, then you do need to have access to your own funds. And we see a lot of times people, one partner, the abuser in a lot of cases, ends up using the other partner's credit card, line of credit, name on loans applications for a small business or investment that ultimately fails. And then sort of the innocent party end up stuck with bad credit, has to declare bankruptcy, things of that nature.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about is sometimes an abuser will intentionally destroy their partner's credit so that they can't leave. Now, we've got about 30 seconds left. What would you recommend someone do if they want to get out? We'll follow up on this in the next segment, but what would your first piece of advice be?
My first piece of advice is be aware of the dangers. The most dangerous times for women in abusive relationships are, unfortunately, pregnancy and when they're planning on leaving. You need a plan in place. You need to reach out to the resources and figure out the safest way forward.